2024 end of the year tabletop role-playing game. Ask Me Anything, questions and answers. Doing a version of this list that we do every year. I'm eating an apple. The weather outside is gorgeous, but I've got a weather warning. I don't know what that means anymore. Weather warning. You know, when they started making up names for weather like 2 years ago, it sort of just was like, what? Can't just have a rainstorm anymore. It's an aerial flood or an Arctic event. Aerial flood sounds like a porn star, or you know, so it's just rain. It's just a rainstorm. Okay, it's just a rainstorm, or it's just a tornado. You don't have to give it weird names. Anyways, favorite game world, and how to treat players, right? Or how I treat players, because apparently that's the thing. So favorite game world. Well, we know 90% of my love is superhero role-playing games. So my favorite game world is Earth in some version, but I assume they mean fantasy game world. It's probably specifically different D&D game worlds, which again is sort of like a vague concept. It's like, well, we're sort of playing in the Forgotten Realms, but I mean... well, I would say I've spent most of my D&D life in the Forgotten Realms, or Glorian, but really the Forgotten Realms. I mean, Glorian is just the Forgotten Realms on speed. It's kind of a mess when you think about it. So yeah, I would say 90% of my gaming life is the Forgotten Realms. So the Forgotten Realms has a very special place in my heart because it was home for so long. You know, I had characters that are deeply ingrained in the Forgotten Realms, especially the Dale Lands, Mulhoran, Fae, the Red Wizards of Fae, my favorite D&D bad guys. I even wrote their theme song. Chult, the island of Chult, which was the setting for my favorite 5e adventure that Wizards of the Coast made, that isn't Mines, which is, of course, Tomb of Annihilation, which is the most D&D adventure Wizards of the Coast made for 5e. So yeah, the Forgotten Realms has a very special place in my heart. And I would always go back, especially if it was like the Company of the Bull or a Paladin or Hell, or just, you know, yeah. But, you know, I also deeply, deeply love the Freeport world that Green Runner created, even though they don't really do anything with right now. But I love the world of Freeport. I love the world of Yig. When they really got into what the rest of the world was like, I loved all the ideas in the expanded world, which they really didn't explore. You know, once I discovered that world, pretty much all my campaigns from that point forward were set in and around Freeport or in and around that world. So for the last, I don't know, 15, 20 years, it's been that world. I mean, ever since I discovered and started running Freeport. I also really love the stuff that Frog God Games has made, the Slumbering Czar, where I'm running my most current campaign. I really love the idea of the Slumbering Czar, this gigantic quasi-post-apocalyptic hex crawl, all based around this vaguely Russian city that, you know, used to be Orcus's home base. And of course, I have it since Orcus is my all-time favorite D&D demon bad guy. So yeah, I love the Forgotten, but you know, the whole idea of the Slumbering Czar can easily just be placed anywhere. I mean, the rest of the stuff that Frog God Games has made for the rest of that world, some of the stuff I really like. Some of it is just stuff they took from other games and other modules and meshed together. You know, they're constantly expanding and growing that world of theirs. But I love the Slumbering Czar, the Rapanathuk setting. But the rest of it, I don't really know much about. So usually I just place that large chunk of land in whatever other game world I'm running. So basically my game world is sort of a combination of that chunk, the Forgotten of the Slumbering Czar world, the Slumbering Czar, Rapanathuk, Forest of Hope, Lost Lands, and then I just lift that up and plop it down on the overall map of the Freeport world. And so we got Freeport, which is basically Bard's Gate. And I can just interchange Bard's Gate from their world to Freeport and then just chunk that down. So my world today would be a combination of still the Freeport world of Yig with my own little adds to it and the Slumbering Czar. I really love that setting, and that's the setting I'm running my most current campaign in. So yeah, those are my favorite worlds of D&D. Other games, well, the world of Tales from the Loop, I absolutely love. The world from the Electric State, I absolutely love. Since I'm a big fan of Marvel, I guess I love Marvel, the world of Marvel. DC, Middle Earth, of course. I mean, come on, Middle Earth. If I could die and come back as any race, I'd want to be a hobbit in the Shire, just sitting on my porch, watching the sunset, drinking my mead with my dog by my side, eating some tasty food with a good company of friends, just talking about nothing for hours. Maybe play a game of cards, maybe play a board game, maybe a once a month D&D game, or whatever the Middle Earth equivalent is. But just that would be my idyllic retirement. If I could just do that. So yeah, I mean, that's the world I'd want to live in the most, I think. But yeah. So now we're talking about how we treat our players, because apparently that came up, and talking about like, well, what do you do if the players don't show up on time or stuff like that? Do you treat your players like, shit? Do you treat them like friends? Do you treat them like an audience? I don't know. I've been known to be really permissive and passive with my players. I've been known to be really giving and forgiving and letting them just kind of do whatever they want. I've also been an asshole from time to time and really come down on really hard on certain behaviors, probably which was more so than unnecessary. I'm not the easiest person to get along with, but I try and remain impartial. I'm not going to tell anybody, if they're at my game, I'm not going to insult them and belittle them behind their back and say horrible things about them or whatever. You're taking time out of your life to sit down at this table or log on online for 3 hours. And if I'm lucky enough to get at least one person who wants to do that once a month, oh my God, God love you. If I'm lucky enough to get 3 people who will take 3 hours out of their life once or twice a month to play my stupid D&D nonsense, I'm blessed. And you should never take that for granted. So what happens if a player don't shows, or what happens if they're late? Well, hopefully, if you've been listening to any of the gaming advice we've been giving out for the last couple of years, you've planned ahead. You've already planned ahead for that inevitability, because we know sooner or later we're all adults. We've already got real lives. None of us can just sit aside 20 hours to game anymore. None of us want to sit 20 hours to game anymore. We're old. We're tired. We've got other things going on. We've got kids or grandkids or work or health issues or whatever. Those days are over. So you hope that you've already set in motion some type of security blanket to deal with that, whether it be a contact circle or whatever. Now, my theory, which I stole from Matt Broman, but it does make sense, as long as I've got 2 or 3, Matt Broman was 3, but I'm like, yeah, 2 or 3. As long as I've got 2 or 3, I can run something. If I've got a group of 20 and 3 show up, I'm still lucky, especially this time of year with the holidays. December is the purgatory of games. So if I can get 3 people show up, 2 people to show up, I can run a one-shot. We can do a board game. We can do a card game. I can run a different system. Superheroes. Here's a duo. Here we go. Yeah. But hopefully, guys, you have set something in place. So if somebody's late and can't make it, they will let you know. And you have the option to postpone the game or do something else. They shouldn't be punished if at the last second they have to babysit because, emergency or whatever. Real life comes first. Now, that said, if they give you some wackadoodle excuse and they're lying, you might want to call them out on it. Some of my favorites have been people who forgot it was their birthday. And they wait to 20 minutes, like everybody was at the place. We were ready to start. And the guy's like, oh, I can't make it. I forgot it was my birthday. Like, no, you didn't forget it was your birthday. You're probably out on a date or whatever. You just don't want a game, dude. Just say, a lot of excuses I got over the years for people who didn't want to play usually involved physical health or being stuck behind something or forgetting something. And usually when it was a guy who was giving us that excuse, we pretty much all knew either he was getting some or trying to get some or something was going on. we were a little bit more forgiving if like the girls called and said, I can't make it, but they could have also been, I don't know. I'm just spiraling here into nonsense. If you let me know in advance you can't make it and you're honest with me, that's fine. If you call me at the last second or text me at the last second and you're bullshitting me, I mean, I'll still forgive you. We'll still hopefully have the safety tools in place that we've got something arranged that if you're late or you can't make it, we can either come up with an alternative or postpone and nobody else feels like put upon. Thankfully, being on the internet now, that's a lot easier for a lot of us if so-and-so can't make it because we can still, nobody's driving anywhere. It's like, okay, what do? We're all here online, but so-and-so can't make it. What do we do? I'm certainly not going to insult you or threaten you or call you names. I'm not going to judge you on how you play the game. As long as you show up to my game and you're somewhat involved, I'm winning. I know a lot of people have been lately giving crap to people who seem like they're not plugged in. And I got to admit, when people first started using cell phones at the game, I was really against cell phones, but I've, changed because I've played with neurodivergent people and having the cell phone as a tool helped them, or people who just always look down at their character sheet and you think they weren't involved and they weren't engaged, but then you realize when you're playing with somebody who's neurodivergent, they're engaged just in a different way. So if you're going to sit there and go, he was looking at his phone and he was making, dick jokes and he wasn't looking at me, so blah, 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 blah. It's like, no way. I mean, either you're just that bad of a DM that they can't plug into you, so they're just trying to keep them amused, or, they're just there to have fun. And if that fun is yucks and giggles, as Roger Yoshida used to say, at least they're still having fun. At least they're still there. At least it's engaged. And if they're looking at the phone, if they're looking face down, if they're looking in the book and they're not addressing the world, can you really say they're not engaged? Maybe they're just engaged in a different way. So again, until I know the whole story, I'm not going to really insult you or belittle you or threaten you. Now, of all the excuses that I have been given for why somebody was leaving, I forgot it was my birthday is pretty good. But the weirdest, best one, and my good friend Mark Smith can confirm this, we were playing a game with this dude, and he'd shown up like once or twice before, and we knew he was probably a stoner, which was fine. I mean, as long as he shared, right? I mean, it's fine. Whatever, dude. Whatever. He showed up. He seemed engaged. He was clean. So we're playing at Seth's, and we're into about the third or fourth time we played this guy, and we're about an hour in, and he suddenly jumps up and tells us straight-faced he has to leave because, and I don't remember the exact order, but I'm pretty sure it was he has to leave because his iguana knocked over his lava lamp and set his dog on fire. Or it was his dog knocked over the lava lamp and set the iguana on fire. But I'm pretty sure he stands up, he looks at us dead serious. I have to go. My iguana just knocked over my lava lamp and set my puppy on fire. And he walks out. Now, he hadn't looked at his phone, to like, nobody, it's not like his girlfriend texted him and went, oh my God, your iguana knocked over your lava lamp and the fucking dog's on fire. You need to get here now. No, he just stood up, looked at us and said, I have to go. My iguana knocked over my lava lamp and my dog's on fire. My puppy's on fire. Turned and left. And we never saw him again. Never saw that guy again. And every time I bring it up, which, it's about once a year when I have these talks, we're all like, what? Was he stoned? Was he having an episode? Was he off his meds? Did he have a mental break? Or did that really happen? And if that really happened, how did he know? Because I don't remember seeing a phone in his hand. And of all the weird things to happen in your life to tell somebody to leave a game, that your iguana knocked over your lava lamp to set your dog on fire, and then never come back. Never come back. Never saw the guy again as far as I can remember. So that's probably the weirdest excuse anybody's ever given me for leaving a game. So again, yeah, favorite world, Forgotten Realms / the world of the Slumbering Czar combined with the world of Freeport. And, you know, in regards to players and player agency and treating players, just, you know, they're taking time out of their life to sit down with you. And whether that's 2 or 3 hours of, you know, 4D, I am in the zone role playing, or 2 or 3 hours of yucks and goofing off and whatever, I'm way more forgiving than I used to be. And now I'm humbled that anybody would take time to even sit down with me and play. And, you know, if they can put up with my ridiculousness for 2 or 3 hours, thank you very much. Anyways, that's it. If you have any questions for me, let me know. And we'll continue this nonsense till the new year. The quest for 2,000 subs continues, but doesn't seem to be doing very well. But we're not going to give up. We're still trying.
News from the table in the rolling waves. Dice in our hand, we're the dungeon's brave. Adventures tonight with our